Hello, fellow scientists. Thank you for joining me today. And today's discussion and presentation is on the idea of exploring an ocean planet as a possibility of becoming an Earth 2.0. So this presentation will go over that in details. So chapter 4 does mention that there are a lot of precursors that are necessary in order for habitability to happen on a planet. And as we are a carbon-based life form, we need to meet certain criteria in order to be able to sustain life. You can see on slide 2 that there are many examples of why liquid water is so important, as it performs so many different tasks. It's such a part of life. It balances out the atmosphere. It regulates temperature within the planet. It absorbs, releases, evaporates. So it just, all of these things, in addition to it being essential for life, are very valid reasons why scientists believe that life exists because of water. And it is, as chapter 4 mentions, a major significant value to looking for life on another planet, in this circumstance, a ocean planet. So if we go into slide 3, we now see that we're dealing with an ocean planet which contains 5% or more of water content. Now, this could mean that there is some land available, or absolutely no land available. Now, what this could incur is the fact that if there is a lack of land, then it ends up changing all of the weathering processes, and weather in general, and just atmosphere, and just everything ends up getting changed because of the lack of land and things that are on land that help control all of that. Because of this creates a concern of instability over long term, and may not be a good choice, but more research will need to be done. One of the biggest things that was taken away from chapter 4 on the ocean planets is the fact that their water could be, tens of thousands of kilometers deep. It could be incredible depths to these oceans, and on Earth, we've barely explored our oceans, let alone go into an ocean planet and trying to do so. So finding that balance is going to be challenging, and being able to figure out if this is something that we can be we can sustain. So you can see on the next slide that there is a comparison slide, and so when we look at like the land comparison, as I mentioned in previous slide, and context, there's only about 30% land coverage on Earth, but that is more than enough to do what is needed, while there is 70% oceans. However, on an ocean planet, there could be none. It could be completely non-existent. Something that this will impact, and you'll see in my next slide, is carbon balance. And overall, the climate, which we understand here on Earth, could completely change when it comes to a ocean planet. So, when you think about carbon cycling, you have to think about how are things processed here on our planet, and how plants, trees, rocks, environment, all of the above play a crucial role in carbon processing in order to make sure, as we are oxygen breathing species, we need to be able to get rid of the carbon dioxide that we let out, and we have to be able to absorb oxygen. So, this is something that is a major question when it comes to the understanding of possibility of life on an ocean planet. Greenhouse effects on an ocean planet would be probably out of control since there would be little regulation. And so this is something that very much creates an uncertainty when it comes to long term effects of life on an ocean planet. So on the final slide, you can see that we discuss screening. And so screening for that planet is going to be extremely important in order to find out. And I think increases in technology are going to definitely have to take place in order to find out if, life on an ocean planet is even possible, and the considerations of things like, ocean cities and whether we would be living on the surface or inside the ocean, which would completely change all aspects of life that we know it. While possible, it's uncertain. So there's a lot to think about when it comes to that. And I would say a question to ask all of you would be what advancements need to take place in order to even make this a consideration for a type of planet? Because while we determined that water is indeed very important and liquid water in its state is needed, it shows that there is a lot more at stake than I don't want to say just water, but in that phrase, there's so much more than just water to be looking at. As far as my presentation, I wanted to kind of keep it simple and not too wordy on my PowerPoint, and so I chose to limit my bullet points, try to make them clear and concise on what I was representing. I did create my own tables and visuals to try to break down the information in a clear matter. And as I worked on the presentation, I went back and forth with layouts, especially in order to make sure that it was clear, concise, and able to be understood. So overall, I hope that you enjoyed my presentation, and I look forward to hearing your feedback. Thank you.